Hello, welcome to another episode of A Salt and Buttery with Intent to Satisfy. Today's episode is meatloaf. Now, I know a lot of people say, ew, meatloaf, it's boring, it's so bland. Okay, well, I actually like this one, and I've won some people over to the meatloaf side with it. Okay, I can't guarantee you'll win everybody, because no matter how good you are, no one likes everything all the time. So let's go ahead and talk about this. First thing I'm going to do, believe it or not, is I'm going to show you a trick. This calls for some celery in it. Now, with this, see this? There are still leaves on this celery. That is fine. Guess what? Celery leaves count as a spice. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly show you how I chop celery, leaves and all. Ta-da! Here we go. Now we only need about half a cup of chopped up celery. And that's all you have to do to chop celery. It is surprisingly easy. You don't have to get rid of all the leaves. You don't have to worry about it. You just have to make sure it's clean. Okay, I would recommend washing it before chopping it, just like you wash your hands before starting cooking, just like we put our hair back into a ponytail, you know, just to keep yucky stuff out. So, about a half cup. It doesn't have to be perfect, okay? Much in life is not, but still perfectly good. Ta-da! There we go. Now, you can make your meatloaf with ground turkey. You can make it with hamburger. You can make it with almost anything, just so long as it's a ground meat, okay? I prefer to use a really lean because it's a little bit healthier. I like the taste a little bit better, but I like to use lean, okay? If you want to use a fattier, just be aware it's going to shrink more. Okay? So this is something you have to keep in mind. Now, as you can see, we have egg, we have hamburger, or ground beef, or ground turkey, or whatever. Okay? Now, breadcrumbs. I actually have some panko breadcrumbs. And you can use either seasoned or unseasoned, depending on what you like. Keep in mind, though, we are adding more seasonings. Okay. Bell pepper. Some nicely chopped up bell pepper. Onion. Give it flavor. Yeah, we like the onion in it. Now, part of the reason I'm wearing gloves is because, sadly, the best way to mix meatloaf is with your hands. Another trick that you can do is put it into a large Ziploc bag. Okay, you have to have a lot of room to work, though, because, like I said, we're talking about 2 pounds just of the ground beef. Okay, now here we have, this is where the recipe differs from what a lot of people do. Some balsamic vinegar and some Worcestershire sauce. I will, as usual, have all the list of ingredients. Okay. Milk. With all the measurements. Now, garlic. You don't need a whole lot, but a couple tricks that'll make your life a little bit easier is what I just used is this type of garlic. I know it's in a tube. It's not as fresh as it could be, but you know what? It works fine. Makes life easier. Another thing that you can do is you can use the jarred minced garlic. Okay. And that works perfectly fine too. Once again, saves you a lot of work. Now, that spice blend that we did up earlier. Okay. This is 3 tablespoons and 3/4 of a teaspoon. So almost, but not quite, a quarter of a cup. Okay, a little bit shy of that. Then we get in here and we mix it with our hands. Now, if you don't happen to have breadcrumbs available, okay, if you have bread, you can make toast and crumble it up. That counts perfectly well for breadcrumbs. Another thing that you can do is, if you don't happen to have bread available, but you have like plain crackers, go ahead and use them. You can use the buttery crackers, you can use plain saltine type style crackers. Now, see, this is all mixed together. And because I've used really lean, I'm not going to have nearly as much shrinkage, and I'm not going to have that nasty grease that you can get sitting in a pool around the meatloaf when it shrinks down, okay? So, now what I need to do is throw this away. Here is the loaf pan I'm going to use. It actually is a loaf pan, but I put it onto a baking sheet of some kind because in case there's a little bit of spillover. Now, some people don't like their vegetables in their meatloaf to be chunks like this. If you prefer, you can cook the vegetables first so that they're all soft, if that is what you prefer. If you need some advice on that, go ahead, let me know, and I will talk you through that, okay? But this is how I like mine. Once again, we can do a lot of variations, but here we have one meatloaf ready to go in the oven. So let's get this out of the way so you can see what I'm talking about. Ta-da! And you can see all those nice vegetables in there. Oh yeah. Now, I have the oven already preheated to 350 degrees. We're gonna stick this in the oven, we're gonna cook it, and life's gonna be good. I'm gonna be happy because meatloaf and meatloaf sandwiches, hey, that makes my day. So, we'll be back in just a little bit. And this is going to take approximately an hour to cook. Keep this in mind, okay? So if you're running late and you only have 30 minutes, this one's not going to work. I'm sorry. But if you have a little bit more time, it's worth the effort. At least I personally think so. So we'll be back in a bit. Okay, here we have one cooked meatloaf. If you don't want it as brown on top as it's cooking, or before you put it in the oven, go ahead and put some foil over the top, okay? If you don't mind it browned like this, go ahead and cook it uncovered. There's a trade-off with the aluminum foil. You get it less browned, but you can end up getting a bit of a tinny taste, which I don't particularly like. And if you happen to have a digital meat thermometer or a meat thermometer of some kind, you want to cook this to an internal temperature of 160 degrees. That means it's cooked all the way, it's well done. That is the well done temperature for ground beef, okay, or ground turkey. So, because this, you don't want it rare, you don't want it medium rare, you want it cooked all the way through. And I think you'll enjoy the flavor of this. I know I do. I know my family does. So go ahead, give this a try, and adjust things to your taste. There's no hard, fast rule about this. If you don't like something, don't put it in. If you think something else will taste good, go for it. Have some fun with this. Once again, this was A Salt and Buttery with intent to satisfy, and today we made meatloaf. Thank you.